The NBA playoffs, where role players get the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, life-changing contracts that they worked insanely hard for, a good performance for only one series or just a couple games on national TV can fool many teams into giving a below-average player a near-max contract. Guys like Duncan Robinson tricked the Miami Heat to believing he's a $90 million type player, but in reality does nothing good besides shooting threes, spends more time sitting next to Udonis Haslem than actual time on the court, while Joe absolute Travesty Harris, an undeserving full-year 75 after having no pressure to put up empty numbers, swept by the 2020 Raptors. If teams are not careful understanding what one-dimensional players are worth, they'll pay the heavy price, might as well just let them walk away. Here are 12 random players who only got a huge contract after one good playoff series, and what they produce after, close to absolutely nothing. Starting with John Koncak of the Atlanta Hawks, 1989, 6 years, $13 million as a reserve. The number might look like nothing now, but he was earning more than multiple future top 75 players Dominique Wilkins, Karl Malone, Clyde Drexler, and John Stockton. Averaged 3.7 points, 4.2 rebounds after that deal. Atlanta matched Detroit's offer. The 7-foot reserve posted solid numbers of 12.8 points, 9.6 rebounds on 62% shooting in the 5-game series loss to the Bucks, where he netted 4 games of double figures, including a 19-11 Game 3 loss after never averaging more than 6 points a game in any year after his rookie season. His deal crippled the Hawks franchise for years. The season Kevin Willis got hurt, Koncak became the third string center instead of the fourth backup behind Moses Malone and Cliff Livingston. Imagine a backup like a Luka Garza type player getting 5 years $150 in today's NBA after just a few amazing playoff games. Welcome to the feeling of 1989 John Koncak. Austin Croshere of the Indiana Pacers, the 6'9" power forward in year 3 after a lackluster first 2 seasons, numbers of 2.9 points followed by 3.4, increased to over 10 a game, 23 minutes for the 56-win Pacers before reaching the finals. Nothing too spectacular, 7.4 points on just 37% shooting. It wasn't until the finals that Croshere played the best ball of his career, reached double figures each 6 games, averages of 15.2 points, 6 rebounds, highly efficient, 54.5% shooting. Although his Pacers came up short, the LA native, all-out hustle guy, one of the original stretch fours, quicker than most guys his size, could beat bigger guys off the dribble, torched Robert Horry all series, but after the replacement of Larry Bird, coach Isaiah Thomas played Austin at the 3, having a different system made him get exposed by smaller guys. Indy offered him a whooping 7 years $51 million deal, traded to Dallas the final year of his contract. The 25-year-old was just unique for one series. The following 9 seasons, 6.6 point average on 40% shooting. Todd MacCulloch of the New Jersey Nets, summer of 2001. If you're a backup center and not very good, but hey, there's evidence that you're matching up with prime Shaq in the finals, teams will always take a chance adding more bodies against the most dominant player of the century. After playing just 9.5 minutes for Philly, averaged just 4.1 points, 2.7 rebounds, the 7-foot, 280-pound big scored 0 points in 4 of the 5 finals games, averaged just 6 minutes, made no sense getting a whooping 6-year, $34 million deal, but had the game of his life in Game 2, numbers of 13 and 5 in 16 minutes played. The Sixers had no reason to match him. Although MacCulloch did have a good regular season for the 0-2 Nets, put up nearly 10 and 6, of course held Shaq to 36 points a game in the sweep, played his final year in 2003, traded back to Philly for Dikembe, diagnosed with a genetic neuromuscular disease that caused chronic foot pain, forced to retire early, 96 total games played since the contract, earning more than $350,000 per game. Even if you're a below average NBA player, if you make the league and somehow have one great playoff game, you can win the money lottery. Troy Hudson of the Minnesota Timberwolves, 5 years $18 million with incentives, a name many longtime fans haven't heard of in years. The 6'1" Laker killer, literally one of his 2 nicknames, was just an okay player first 5 seasons, averaged 8 points, under 40% shooting, but after stints with the Clippers and Magic, signed with the Wolves, a breakout 2003 year, numbers of 14.2 points, almost 6 assists, the starting point guard, forced to be the third option on a weak squad with lone superstar KG OG. Hudson absolutely torched the Lakers in round 1. Numbers of 23.5 points, 5.5 assists, nearly 44% shooting from 3 after the Game 1 loss, had the best game of his life. Game 2, an insane 37-point outburst, 15 of 16 from the line, only shot it 16 times, had 10 assists, followed by 27 in Game 3 and 28 in Game 4, took a 2-1 series lead before losing a tight Game 4. The crowd super electric in the Target Center, breathtaking performance, being the leading scorer for one game versus Kobe and Shaq, a forgotten player now, but in late April 2003, Troy Hudson, simply one of the hottest names in all of basketball. In the following years, never the same, played just 29 games in 04, never played in a postseason game after 2003. His last NBA game, December of 07. Production plummeted by injuries, appeared in just 70 games between 05 to 07. A devastating ankle injury in an exhibition late October of 03 ruined his career. If he was healthy for the playoffs, would have been a huge replacement for Sam Cassell going down in the conference finals. Minnesota might have won a title with a fully healthy squad that year. Jerome James, an absolute travesty signing by the Knicks summer of 05, known for giving the team bench towels, missed the big snacks, ate more meals per day than average points per game. 5 years, $30 million, very top-notch production of 2.5 points, 1.8 rebounds, 90 games, less than 8 minutes played. Talk about professional highway robbery. James absolutely balled out for the 05 Seattle Sonics, never averaged above 5.5 points in any season. The starting center for a 52-win team led by Ray Allen and Rashad Lewis. A monster first round with Sacramento, by far the best stretch of his NBA career, double figures each game, numbers of 17.2 points, 9.4 boards on 58% shooting, borderline all-star numbers. Wasn't as great versus San Antonio. James, drafted by the Kings in 98, said head coach Rick Adelman cut him in training camp of 2000 by handing him a garbage bag to clean his locker, and suggests James to find another career. Jerome improved his scoring more than any other player that first round playoffs compared to regular season, celebrated the win by having a trash bag, earning bragging rights over his former team because the Knicks were desperate for a big. Combined with James's postseason hype, some things work out at the perfect time. Afterwards, had weight issues, conditioning problems, and injuries, ended his career shortly, scored over 10 points just 3 times since that fat contract, earning over $1 million per point scored his final 2 seasons. Still one of the worst Knicks signings to this day. John Henson of the Milwaukee Bucks, the 6'9" big out of the league since 2020, averaged just 7-5 his 3rd season on a 500 team. Giannis' 2nd year, Brandon Knight the leading scorer, Michael Carter-Williams ran the point, Middleton still young, met the Bulls round 1, balled out, having a 15-point, 14-rebound Game 3, despite not standing a chance and getting destroyed by 54 in Game 6. Henson's first 5 games of 9.8 points, over 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks, won 2 games after being down 0-3, rewarded with 4 years, $44 million. Heavily became disliked by Bucks fans, knowing he's just an average center. His blocks look good on paper, but giving credit way more on the box scores than watching his games constantly getting cooked by bigger guys. Only had a jump hook, nothing else. Also doesn't put in the work hard enough in the weight room. There's a reason why he was out the league by age 29. Matthew Dellavedova, those who watched him closely in 2015 understood his impact. 2nd season, came off the bench, 4.8 points on 36% shooting, no offense, all hustle guy, forced to play heavy playoff minutes with the injuries to Kyrie. Delly relentless, pursued, helped the Cavs sweep the Hawks, including scoring 11, 17, and 10 points games 2-4 after playing 9 minutes in Game 1 in the finals. With Irving out for the series, Delly put on an all-time energy display, 9 big points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals in Game 2, put his body on the line every possession, clutch offensive board, recovered a loose ball in OT, led to clutch free throws, gave his team the lead, pressured Steph Curry heavily, dropped 20 points, 5 and 4 in Game 3, set the momentum being the Cavs' 2nd best player that game, made a huge 3-point play, left everything out there, even had to go to the hospital for an IV afterwards, played some of the hardest basketball we ever seen from any role player. His numbers might not look pretty, but Cleveland wouldn't have won those 2 games without Dellavedova, disrupting Golden State's offense, briefly known as the Steph Stopper. After Irving got back to full strength, Delly and After Dar on the bench, the Bucks did end up signing him 4 years, $40 million in 2016, a subpar 5.5 point average, 3.9 assists those 4 seasons, never got as close to his 2015 level of hype. Timothy Mozgov, after being known for the tall guy getting dunked on by Blake Griffin, the 7'1" Russian, traded to the Cavs January of 2015, immediately became the starting center, averaged around 10 and 7, 45 games, looked like a borderline all-star out there in the finals, put up 14 and 7.5 boards, including a 28.10 rebound game 4. His height and presence gave the smaller Warriors lots of problems, a 16-point game 1, followed by a 17-point game 2, only picked up after Anderson Varejão's torn Achilles, provided real rim protection, but after game 4, Mozgov 0 points in 9 minutes of game 5, decided by head coach David Blatt his team needed to play faster, ended up losing the rest of the games. Half the games, Mozgov was seen as the second or third best player in those finals, but made no impact in 2015 with everybody healthy. The Lakers all of a sudden quickly signed him to 4 years, $64, an absolute absurd decision, made no sense, set the bar for many other bad free agency signings. Mozgov simply on the right team at the right time, got his money, and minded his own business. Allen Crabbe only played big minutes in 2016 after the departure of Wesley Matthews, his 3rd year after a quiet first 3 games versus the Clippers. His last 8 games of the 2016 postseason averaged 12.4 points, 59% from the field and 50 from 3, caught fire at the perfect time. With the injuries to Paul and Griffin of LA, Portland gained momentum of that series. The 24-year-old's hot shooting helped the Blazers advance even in the Golden State loss. Crabbe shot 7 of 9 in game 5, scored 20 points against the 73 win squad, only losing by 3. His team rewarded him 4 years, $70. Crabbe, of course, barely tried afterwards and was out the league after his contract was up. Portland simply betted on his abilities to improve given his age wasn't needed after the improvement of CJ McCollum. Crabbe traded to the Nets in 2017. Solomon Hill, 4 years, $48, the 6'6" small forward, nothing more than a below average role player, came to the NBA at the right time. Year 3 averages of 4.2 points, less than 3 rebounds, 59 games with Indiana. Hill showed promise first round versus the Raptors, a game 1 win of 13 points simply by being aggressive. Only made 1 shot but went 10 of 10 from the line. 3 of the 7 games scrapped over 5 rebounds, just okay numbers for a bench player. The Pacers had no pressure to win anything, rewarded handsomely for playing better than his normal self. The struggling Pelicans needed something to make Anthony Davis happy. Small market Dell Demps, desperate for a 3-and-D wing, the Pacers dodged the bullet, which is why any borderline playoff team, depending on a young guy in a contract season, every young role player should do everything to make the playoffs if they have a chance to get there, and play well, get paid, relax the rest of the way. Dell Demps seriously don't get enough crap for giving Hill, Etuan Moore, and Amir Acid huge contracts, all below average players if you ask me. Hill went on to average 5.7 points, 3.3 rebounds, 38% shooting. His contract, not even his most memorable NBA moment. More remembered for his brief time with the Hawks, accused of intentionally trying to injure LeBron and still getting threats to this day. Mahinmi, also with the 2016 Pacers, first 7 seasons, averaged 4 and 4. But of course his contract year put up 9 and 7 on 59% shooting in 26 games, replacing the washed up Roy Hibbert. After down 2-1 and struggling his first 3 games, a masterful 22.10 rebound 5 assist game 4, a 17-point win over the Raptors, the most important game of his career, which ultimately led to the Wizards believing in his production. Only to put up 4 and 6 the next game, then a dozen points in game 6, Washington giving him 4 years, $64, an absolute travesty. Everyone knew it was horrible. Halfway through his deal, out the Wizards rotation, while averaging more fouls per game than nearly twice his combined blocks, steals plus assist totals, 7.2 fouls per 36, because Ernie Grunfeld struck out on Durant, then missed out on Al Horford. Panicked and thought Mahinmi was his savior, another all-time terrible GM move. Players getting more than halfway to a 9-figure contract based on playing just above standards for a few playoff games. Who knew getting contracts in the NBA was that easy? Bismack Biyombo of the Orlando Magic. Toronto signed him for 1 year, $3 million. No harm in being the backup, but perfect timing, having the chance to play minutes against LeBron's Cavs conference finals. Known for being an excellent rebounder and not good at anything else, the 23-year-old imposed his will in the paint, grabbed a career postseason best 26 rebounds, 8 offensive boards in a 15-point win. Many believed the Cavs would sweep the Raptors, but Biyombo's presence Game 3 gave Toronto hope, followed with a 14-rebound Game 4, went on to getting a full-year $72 million deal for a guy getting massive money just playing over 20 minutes a game. Combined with 2016 summer of bad signings, Orlando wanted to improve their interior defense, trying to pair up Biyombo and Ibaka. What were they thinking? Bismack provided little to no impact, didn't make it back to the playoffs till 2022 with Phoenix, remains on the team 2023. Honorable mentions includes Larry Hughes of the 2005 Washington Wizards. Led the league in steals, made defensive first team, put up 22 points a game, played great all of that regular season, and balled out in the first round versus the Bulls. Went on to sign for 5 years, $70 with Cleveland, viewed as LeBron's number 2, but made little impact. Hughes was just motivated as ever to get the Benjamins in a big contract year, then fell off. Damon Jones 2005, another terrible Cavs signing, 4 years, $16 million. After his only years of putting up double figures with the 05 Heat, then came off the bench, wasn't quite the same, although he did nail a clutch shot to close out the Wizards series. Chandler Parsons put up over 19 a game the 2014 playoffs, was already injury prone with Dallas before Memphis offered him 4 years, $94, played just 100 total games after, heavy injuries. Of course, Ben Gordon and Luol Deng already proved themselves as good NBA players. Gordon signed for 5 years around 55 after the 09 playoffs, never the same with the Pistons, instantly became a shell of himself, while Deng came off massive injuries. A good pickup for Miami in 2016, averaged over 13 and 6 that postseason, only to be rewarded $72 million by the Lakers despite being past his prime. Played a total 79 games since that contract, almost making $1 million per game. Thanks so much for watching this video. Which one of these random players got the worst contract in your opinion? Who are you most shocked by? After a big playoff series or just playing good for 1 or 2 games? Let me know in the comments below. More great videos coming soon. Love y'all. See you next time.